Everybody, thanks so much for listening to the Dumb Dad Podcast. My name is Kevin, and I'm a dumb dad.
Hey there, my name's Evan. I'm a dumb dad.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, pal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really excited.
Me as well.
I'm really excited.
We're switching it up this time.
I know. I don't have to listen to only you talk.
Us two morons.
Everybody, please join us in welcoming in. He's a content creator, lives in Colorado. His own show called Super Dad. He's got a book coming out. He's got a baby coming out. Please, parents, let's welcome in Dude Dad, Taylor Calmus. Taylor, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Coming.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Listen, we're fans of what you do over there.
So you're a creator, and you're not just a content creator, like a salt of the earth, work with my hands kind of creator.
Yeah, work with my hands creator. Yeah, I started working with my hands when I was real young, just to like make money, and then once I became a dad, I started making content. Like I did my first build video, and it kind of blew up, and I was like, oh, that's a useful skill.
Yeah.
Like, and especially as a millennial, there's just not a lot of millennials that know how to work with their hands. So, so we started kind of leaning into that more. But yeah,
is that where the creations came from? Like, I was just thinking about that. Like, I do handyman stuff around the house just to keep the house from falling down on ourselves. But you're creating like things like, you know, the Roomba Pac-Man and make your own lemonade and stuff like that. How was that just from doing one on YouTube and raising the eyebrows going, oh, that works? Or is that something you were kind of doing beforehand?
I think I was always kind of making things, but not quite like that, you know, because I also, you know, this was like, I must have been 2 years into fatherhood and 2 years into creating content when I did my first build video, which was a Rube Goldberg machine. It's a Rube Goldberg gender reveal for our second child. And yeah, it was wild because it took me like 3 days to set up and film, and my wife wasn't home. Thank God, because
she would have stopped you.
Well, I took over. She probably would have stopped me, but it definitely would have been pretty annoying because you couldn't walk through the house. Because it was everywhere.
Yeah,
and she didn't take the baby with her, so I had like a toddler with me the whole time I was doing it, who would just like accidentally set it off every once in a while.
Yeah. 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing.
Exactly. So it was a lot. But then it took off and became this big thing, and it was like, oh, I should use more of those skills that I have, because I hadn't before then. I was just doing comedy. And then I was like, oh, I could start building things for my kids and, like, you know, 2 birds with 1 stone, create a cool experience for them, but then also create a piece of content, you know, for the channel. So
how did you get your start in comedy? Where did you begin?
The Ottoman, when I was like 4. No. In Los Angeles, I moved out to Los Angeles to pursue acting. And kind of started, you know, getting into there. But before that, you know, I was a theater major and, you know, all of that, and did all the college plays and high school plays and all that kind of stuff. You know, basically anywhere you can perform in the Midwest is where I was, which is very limited, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I love the fact that you build the stuff for your kids. I mean, your creations are really cool. I mean, have you ever seen the show MythBusters? I'm assuming you've seen the show.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of the show, and it reminds me, the stuff that you make reminds me a lot of that show, just kind of creating almost out of the stuff that you have, but also, I mean, where do you get the inspiration for some of the stuff that you build? Some of these, like, I mean, I've seen everything from like the Dumb and Dumber dog van and everything, but I mean, do you source it? Or does it just kind of pour out of you?
I don't know. I mean, it just kind of random ideas that come to me from wherever. But, like, you know, obviously the Dumb and Dumber one came about because, you know, we'd done a Power Wheels video that did really well, and then it was like Halloween, and it was like, oh, what can I make my kids for Halloween? And I was like, oh, we should dress them up like Lloyd and wait, why did I just blank the other guy's name? Who are the guys? Lloyd Christmas and Harry. Lloyd and Harry. Oh my gosh,
we're all gonna get attacked for that one.
It's my dumb dad moment of the week, I guess. Lloyd and Harry. Yeah. So then it was like, oh well, it wouldn't be that hard to make the Mutt Cuts mobile, and just, you know, kind of set to work to art that out. But But then like the video of it was really important to me too, to like sort of like make an homage to the movie and all of everyone's favorite parts, but have my adorable little children do it. And they were at that perfect age where they would like do what you asked them to do. You know, like they're both starting to age out of that and have their own like feelings about whether or not they want to do certain pieces of content, and you have to kind of respect it, you know, but
How many kids do you have and how old?
I've got 3, but by the time this podcast comes out, I'll have 4. So
nice.
Yes. So there's 7, 5, almost 2, and almost born.
Wow. Going for the baker's dozen, or what's going on here?
Nope, that's it. 4 is it. We're almost complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like a build that you did that maybe didn't make it on there? Because I'm curious about this. Because yours are all off like your own creation, so they're really creative and fun for the kids to do and to see. Do you have one that just annoys you? It failed. It like didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I had what was the thing I was trying to do? Every once in a while, I get these ideas, and you go down that path, and then it just is going to be too much time or something. Mm-hmm. So, like, one video we haven't finished yet, but we're going to at some point, is DIY BattleBots. Real sketchy. Because
I mean,
you know,
the TV show looks sketchy.
Yeah, but they're all behind like protective plexiglass. Like we're trying to figure out how to mimic that too, of just like some, you know, chicken wire or something in the garage, you know. But I basically took like a Megalodon RC car and like hooked a big old saw blade to it, and like a drill. But like the tricky thing is especially like in the kind of the little piece of the creative world that I've carved out is like making things sort of makeshift and approachable. So when viewers watch it, they go like, "Oh, I could build that."
Yeah.
You know? So like there's part of me that's like, "Oh, let's learn how to actually turn it on remote control." And then there's the other part of me that's like, "Well, that's going to be too hard for most people to do. So let's just like have the blade always running." You know? But then it's like, how do you stop it? You know?
You move.
Yeah. So then it's like, okay, you have 2 remotes, and one remote is just like you somehow figure out how to like, you know, sort of manually, physically have it turn the drill on. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other reason why that project hasn't gotten finished, because it's just been like this, like, well, how do we do this safely? How do we do this in a way that is approachable to other people? Or do we just ignore that altogether? But if you ignore that altogether, then it's like, well, you should just be building a real BattleBot. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's a weird...
And then sending your audition tape to the show.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah.
And you're working on the legal at the bottom. Done by professionals.
Battle Robot.
Robot. Yes.
I love that you said, like, to keep it approachable so that when somebody watches it, they think, I can do that. But I wouldn't put it past any dude out there that sees something, goes, I could do that. Yeah. And then halfway through it, they're either going to the hospital or they just have parts all over the place.
Yeah. So, I don't know, we're going to do that at some point, and we'll just, you know, but the tricky part with those, too, you know, like, now that this has become, like, my career, is that you know, and I have a team, you know, and, like, you know, we're doing better, but it also, there's so much more, so many more mouths to feed, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So, it's harder to take a chance on a build that's going to, you know, take a couple of weeks, versus just doing a comedy video where we can like come up with a script and shoot it in a day, edit another 1 to 2 days, and have it really polished up, and probably get the same amount of views as the 2 weeks it's going to take me to build BattleBots. You know?
Right. Yeah, I mean that's I respect that. I mean, where we kind of like to approach content creation this similar way of just like, well, let's make something the best that we can make it. And I understand your team's getting bigger, so it's like, less risks, and also. A lot of people are like, well, you must have more time now that you have this person doing this. It's like, no, I have this person doing this so that I can now do this. And
we're still working on that, because for whatever reason, I have to do a lot of the administration BS, you know. It's like, Yeah, but yeah,
I do appreciate that as well. You getting into the part like, and doing the same thing. We make content and post it online. Like, there's that weird space where you think like, man, I really trust that this is going to do well, and then it doesn't get a ton of views. Or you post something that you think, I got to rush something out. We try to post a sketch like almost every day.
Yeah.
And then once in a while you throw something out there and it does extremely well and you didn't expect that. It's a weird place to be, and I imagine, especially with a team, how much preparation do you have potentially, or does it completely vary based on what you're making? I mean, you have other people that write with you, or does your team does everybody wear multiple hats?
Everybody wears multiple hats. I mean, I essentially my two best friends work with me. I just happened to, because of the world that I came from, I was very, well connected with other very talented people. Mm-hmm. So that's been great. But yeah, everyone wears multiple hats. I mean, even, we've been at this, I've been at this, what is this, 6 years now? Mm-hmm. And I still don't know if something's going to hit. We refrain from saying that, because as soon as you say like, this is going to be a banger, it's not,
Yep.
So I just don't say it. Don't jinx it. But even just this morning, we're on YouTube Shorts, like looking at like the view count of the videos, trying to see if there's any kind of a pattern with types of content that do well versus ones that don't. Literally can't find a pattern. Like, I feel like the short form game has really changed things in that way, because like long form, we can find the patterns. We know what you need in a long form, and that was kind of our bread and butter when we got started, or when I got started. That like got us to where we are, and short form is the new thing that you have to do because it's what everyone does, and it's just a lot more unpredictable in that way, because like if people are willing to give you 15 seconds,
mm-hmm.
if that first frame is interesting, right?
Yeah.
With long form, it just has to be a good piece of content, right?
Yeah.
So like I can be really dialed in, but if my first frame isn't dialed in, then I don't get the views, and Susan from Cincinnati gets the views instead, and she's some soccer mom that just has whatever going on,
The algorithm is your friend and your enemy at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's jump into, speaking of bread and butter, what we like to do here on the Dumb Dad Podcast is talk about something maybe stupid we did this week, or a realization you came to. And I'll give you an example of something that happened to me.
Your dumb dad moment?
Sort of my dumb dad moment.
Okay.
So this kind of comes to, like raising our children, and like, my son is 8, and now it's all about like, hey, okay, so you got to go take a shower. Why? Well, because it's been 2 days, or like, like I don't understand the point, and
you're not smelling what I'm smelling.
Yeah. So it's about like taking care of yourself, right? And then my wife I can't remember why, we need to go to the mall for something. So we go to the mall, and I was like, hey, speaking of which, I need to go get like a face wash or something like that. I used to wear this like lotion that I like to wear that had sunscreen in it, right? That's like the dad mentality. I want 2 for 1 kind of thing. So,
and it also does shampoo.
Yeah, exactly. So
they're the whole thing.
So I go to this place in the mall, and there's like this lady standing in there, and I'm like, okay, so really quickly, as they're like going to the car, I'm like, okay, she goes, can you help you? I go, yep, you can. I know exactly what I'm looking for. I want like a daily sort of like face lotion, and I want SPF in it, like simple. And she's like, okay. So she goes over to like the area to tell me tell me all about this stuff. And she's like, okay. So she starts showing me the options. And I go, okay, let me just tell you one thing really quick. I'm not looking for like a huge routine. I just want to do like
you're really dadding it.
I know.
So hard.
I couldn't. I knew what was coming out of my mouth, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't have a lot of time. Just help me solve this problem.
You were hoping she'd point and you could grab and walk away.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay. So I don't want a routine. Normally, what I do, and she's like, well, what are you doing now? I go, right now in the shower, I just use like a bar of soap, wash. And she was like, okay. And like the look of disappointment on her face when I told her I just washed my face with a bar of soap, and she's like, what about like on your face? And I was like, well, I was just using like, regular like hand.
Spring.
Yeah, like she was the level of disappointment on her face when I said it out loud to her was like, oh, I'm not doing any of this right. And she's like, okay, take this one. It has SPF in it. And then the last fail I made in front of her, I was like, I did have this stuff before that I liked it at SPF because it's just like a one thing. And she goes, yeah. And then when you wash it off at night, and I go, you have to wash it. You have to wash it off at night. And she's like, yeah, yes, like it has stuff in it. You have to get it off of your face. And I was
wipes
like,
off on the pillow.
okay. All right. She's like, that's not a routine. That's just washing your face before you go to bed. And I was like, okay. And she just looked so disappointed in me.
She said that. That's not a routine.
Yeah.
She could see you being like, what's a routine?
So, yeah.
No, clean yourself.
So it was, yeah, exactly. It was just one of those things. I was like, oh man, I'm not really practicing what I preach here to my son to like take a shower, wash your face. And I'm like, oh, I just use a bar of soap. And she's just like, oh my God.
I mean, the arrogance of you to just be able to do that and not break out with acne, like screw you. Like you can take that poorly, that poor of care of your skin and just be walking around like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's two sides to it, right? If you fill it with cake it with enough dirt, nothing can grow. So
oh, it's a toxic wasteland.
Exactly. Nothing can live there.
We have a nice topsoil. We got to know what to plant.
Oh,
It's a
jeez.
compost bin on your
So anyway,
face.
that was my dumb dad moment. It was just like mostly just the look of disappointment on this woman's face. That I was just like, I couldn't wait to get to the car to tell my wife, like, oh, you're not going to believe this. This lady was like, and then of course she's like, let me also just give you a few samples here. And just like put a bunch of stuff in them, like, try them out. You never know.
And you're like, I'm not going to try that.
Yeah, those are still sitting in the bag.
Yeah.
But,
They'll end up in the drawer in the bathroom
Yeah.
for months.
yeah. But I have stuck to the minimal routine so far, which is going well. But yeah,
Which is
Go back.
washing your face.
Which is washing my
your
face. Yeah,
At night? Are you washing your face at night?
I've done it a couple times.
I've
Okay.
done it a couple of times.
Let me ask you this. Do you brush your teeth at night and in the morning, or just one or the other?
I brush in the morning and at night because I tell my son and my daughter, you have to do that, and so we just all do it together.
Let's acknowledge, though, how, like, kids' version of brushing their teeth is basically not doing anything.
Correct.
Hey, it's not doing anything, and I'm at this weird stage where my kids they want me to brush their teeth. And the lazy person in me doesn't want to brush their teeth.
Yeah.
But I know if I don't, they're going to fall out anyway, but they're just going to rot off their face. But
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
I'll be on the couch, like, the day's almost done. Just go brush your teeth. And like, can you brush my teeth? And it's like, I have to say yes. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I got to get off the couch and do this.
It's they're putting in the minimal effort, and we're like, okay, they put in minimal effort, let's let them pass. But like they're not really cleaning their teeth. The only thing they're doing is dirtying the sink because they're not tall enough to get the spit to the middle of the sink, and they never put water in their mouth, so it's just like this streak of like toothpaste mouth goo that you have to clean out.
All over
the
the
glob
faucet.
that like didn't mix at all and just like comes straight from the tube to their mouth and then falls on the sink, but it's wet enough to like turn to concrete. So you gotta like scrape it off.
It's fantastic.
Okay, so tell us, do you have a dumb dad moment that's like maybe one of your favorites of something that you did that you're just like, that was not a great moment?
Yeah. Oh gosh, this happened. This was right around Halloween. For Halloween, we were really into Stranger Things, so we built a Demigorgon and a Mind Flayer. Frayer? I always forget how to say it. I got roasted online.
Flayer, right? Like they flay your skin.
Whatever. It'll be a comment generator if I say it wrong. Mind Frayer.
Yep, it's Mind Frayer.
Yeah, Mind Flayer. Got it.
Like Mon Frere, yeah.
Yeah, Mind Flayer. So, but the Demigorgon, we like animatronicked his face so that his face would open and then shoot candy out of the face, right?
Perfect.
But the issue is that like
The rate of speed in which the candy flew out.
well, and the angle, because in order for it to look good to the viewer, you need the face kind of straight on and not up, right? But we knew that like the candy would be safer if the candy flew up and then rained down on you, right? But we needed it to look good this way, so we like tried to see if we could get the head to move too, but there was just way too many moving parts. Plus, there's like a tube through its throat where the air cannon comes through. So ultimately, it was like, all right, he just needs to be stationary. So fill the mouth full of candy, open up the mouth, get the kids out. All right, catch some candy. Well, first time we shoot this thing, my son catches a Snicker bar to the eye. It's like, they're like, oh, yeah, let's do this, candy. Ah! And he just takes off running into the house, like bawling. And I'm like, oh, jeez, I should have known better. Like, of course that was going to happen. So, yeah, really fun, cool thing you made there, Dad.
Yeah.
Going back to MythBusters, they test it first.
Yeah.
I think I did test it, but you don't know it's going to hit him in the eye.
It's true.
You know?
Yeah. Kids have incredibly bad coordination. I mean,
That's true. That's true.
Wild.
It was just his reaction time was way too slow. He should have caught it.
Yeah.
Like
That's like the time we say it all the time, buddy. Hands up.
hands up. Yeah.
Hands up.
The ball's not going to find the glove if you're, you got your hands in your
No.
pockets.
Oh, man.
We did hand out safety goggles for the next shoot. We had a bunch of kids come over. We gave them all safety goggles. That was like the best part of like Halloween night is when all the kids were coming over, and then I stopped shooting at the Demogorgon. I just used like a t-shirt cannon so I could loft it up, and they could still come push the button and see the face open or whatever. But
cool.
anyway, I would like really build the suspense as I'm loading all the candy, and I'd be like, "Did everybody sign a waiver?"
I just know me as a dad. If I didn't know you and was going to your house and you're like, all right, put on safety goggles. Maybe we skip this one.
Yeah, or they're just handing it to you over there.
Yeah. Well, it actually worked out really nice because you could keep everyone on the street. Because I'd be like, hey, if you can't stand this close, stay on the street and I'm going to shoot it to you. And everyone goes,
Oh, that's
wait, what? No, just stand out there.
Did he
It's
say
coming.
shoot?
Yeah.
Why is he like loading this thing like a?
Like a musket?
Yeah.
All right, Kevin,
Oh, it's amazing.
bring it home. Tell us.
I mean, yeah.
Tell Taylor and I you did something stupid this week.
I always do something stupid
Yeah.
every week. Mine has to do with daylight savings time.
Do you suffer from that in Colorado? I don't know.
We have it, yeah.
You have
I mean, I love it because now it's bright out longer.
I like it now, but the idea of it, one is just so annoying. Like, stop making videos telling me daylight. It's like it's the weather. It's like what I knew it was coming. Like when people go, "This is your reminder, daylight savings is coming." You're like, I know. The last 8 videos have told me about daylight savings and what to do with my children, which I don't do. I don't know if you guys do the whole 20 minutes before, 20 minutes after for 3 days, and then warm their milk. I don't understand.
We don't
And
do
I
anything.
I don't even wash my face. What are we talking about?
That's true. What am I talking to you for about this stuff? But like it was this weekend, and we went hard the other direction. We had no structure this weekend. Kids stayed up till like 10 p.m. both nights.
Perfect. Yeah.
They went to bed, and we were like, well, hopefully they're going to sleep in. And that's like you said with videos.
Yeah.
If you say this is going to hit and it doesn't hit, same thing goes with you saying maybe they'll sleep in. They went to bed late, and it's daylight. No, they were still up. 5:45, walking in the door, like walking our room. Evan's kids at least get up and kind of mind their business. My kids walk into our room, look at me, shake me, and like, let's go. You have to. You're on the clock, my guy. Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, I don't even realize it. Like, it's like, nowadays your phone just changes time, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on the struggle bus so often that, like, if I wake up and I lost an hour of sleep, I don't realize it because I normally lose an hour of sleep,
Yeah.
Like,
Normally I don't feel great, and I still don't feel great. Like,
yeah, and like our kids, like we start the night with just me and my wife in the bed, and by the end of the night, by my morning, there's 5 of us in there, 5.5 technically.
Yeah.
So, actually, I've spent some of my best nights of sleep have been in my 5-year-old daughter's bed.
Yeah.
When she's coming to my room, I'm like, I'm going over there. It's going to be so cozy. She's got so many stuffed animals. It is cozy.
That was my plan literally last night. My daughter couldn't sleep. She's up. It's like 10 o'clock, way past 10. And she just keeps coming out of her room talking to me. And she's like, can I just go to bed with you? And I was like, okay. So she comes to bed with us, like just out the gate. And I have a son as well. And I was like, looking forward to him coming into the room because I was like marching right to his bed. It was the one time he didn't come.
Can I go to bed with you?
Yeah.
Well, I have a bit of a routine here. I'm going to watch something for 15 minutes and then fall asleep while it's on.
I'm going to watch something for 15 minutes, and 4 hours later, I'm going to go, no!
So, my daughter, though, is like, the balls on her, though, because she has the tenacity to then in the morning go, Dad, you messed up my bed. Like, you have to stop. You have to stop sleeping in my bed. You messed up all my stuffed animals. I'm like, you're in my bed. Like, what do you don't get to say that. She's like, well, I don't want you doing that anymore. I'm like, then stay in your bed and I won't come there. Like, just
ditto.
The restraint it takes not to go, follow me. Let's go through the things you've messed up.
Yeah.
Walk with me. We're walking.
Yeah.
We're taking a tour now.
No, but like, I've tried to guilt trip them. They don't have the capacity for guilt yet. So they're just like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I get scared. So that's just, I understand that you can't sleep, but that doesn't really matter because I got scared and I like to sleep in your bed.
Yeah.
It's mean when somebody online says, well, then you shouldn't have had kids then. It's different when your child says it to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Shouldn't have had kids then, Dad. Don't mess up my stuff.
Okay, so now let's get to the meat and potatoes here. You've just written a children's book. Oh, you've got it there. Perfect.
There it is.
There it is. Look at that.
So tell us a little bit about the process of that and the motivation behind writing a kid's book.
Okay, so here's the deal. Kids' books, I didn't know this, they take a really long time, right? So this was started 2 years ago, and 2 years ago, I just had 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
And then about a year into making the book, we got pregnant again, and I was like, crap, because I put, my whole family in the book, 1, 2, 3 kids. I'm like, crap, it's too late to add another character, so we can't do that.
Right.
And, so I'm like, man, I'm going to have the one kid that's not in the book. So it was too late. So then what we did was we hit up the illustrator, and like the whole story is like about basically like mom leaves for the day to go shopping, so then dad spends all day building crazy stuff for the kids. So when mom gets home from shopping, we had them add a pregnancy test into the bag. and there's 2 stripes on it, so she already peed on it.
She peed on it and threw it in the bag. She ran into the Macy's bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. She just ran in like, I got to get this over with right now.
Yeah.
I feel so off. My hormones are everywhere. Let's go pee on this real quick. And then she, just like hormone shopped for a bunch of other stuff. I mean, look at the amount of bags that she came home with.
That's an incredible amount of things.
Yeah. But that is,
the good song is like the kid's gonna. I mean, it's gonna take the kid forever to accept that. You see, you're in the book. Like, I'm not in the book.
No, you're right there. That stick, that's your DNA.
Yeah.
And then like in the dedication of the book, I wrote, "This book is dedicated to Theo, Juno, Otto, and any future kids we may have."
Perfect.
Love you.
That's covering your bases.
Yeah. I mean, what it would have been great is if we had done the gender reveal by then, so we could have just picked a name and stuck it in there.
Yeah.
But that might have been more confusing because it's like, okay, my name's in there, but you didn't put me in it.
What, you didn't like me, but you had
the thing.
obligation?
So here's the thing. When you have a publishing deal, it's the process.
Yeah. Let me explain to you how Penguin Random House works.
Well, congrats on that, man. That's so fun.
And the name of the book is Dad and the Recycling Bin Roller Coaster.
Yeah. Super fun. It's
is it
about,
out now?
It's on pre-order right now. So if you go to dudedad.com, you can pre-order it. And then if you pre-order it, you also get some free coloring sheets.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. And then
there you go.
And
that's called incentive, and that's worth.
Exactly. And you get a link to like a DIY video that nobody else has where I teach you how to do a DIY project.
I love that.
saw blade spinning robot.
Yeah.
It's not that one. It's a little bit safer than that one, but there's still some compressed air involved. So
Always got to have compressed air. So you wrote a dad joke book, and then you wrote a new dad baby book, and then you wrote a kid's
pregnancy
book.
book. Yeah.
What made you want to write the baby book?
I had this idea when we got pregnant for the second time, because there was just very little information out there that was on pregnancy that was geared towards men, right?
Yeah. Even still, really.
Yeah, so I came up with this fun idea that instead of comparing your unborn child to fruits and vegetables, you would compare it to things that men would understand, right?
Yeah.
Like a baseball, a 10mm socket, a 3-pound brisket,
Yeah.
things that men can identify with. So that was kind of the starting point, and then from there we just kind of used the object to inform the chapter, and I basically just infused it with every piece of dad knowledge I've learned in the last 6 years, and things that I learned from my own dad through childhood and stuff too. So there's some fun stories from my childhood in there, as well as just lots of good information for new dads without being so boring like a lot of other pregnancy books.
Yeah.
Because it's a short read. It's 100 pages. It's hey, if you've never had a kid before, get this book, dive in. You'll be a lot more prepared than if you don't have it.
That's right, because usually what it is your wife reads 7 books and tries to get you to read the book. You're not going to read the book, and then just tries to relay all the information to you. So it's good. I appreciate it. I mean, congrats to you, man, and everything you're doing. It's great. We started this podcast when we both I had 2 kids. Kevin had a kid and had his second one on the way. So we started the podcast right when he was about to have his kid, because sort of the same thing. Our wives are listening to parenting podcasts, and it's a bunch of mom podcasts in preparation, talking about motherhood and everything. And if there was a dad podcast out there, it was they posted 5 times and once every 6 months or something. So we thought, man, we've been doing sketch comedy together forever. So we're well, let's just get together once a week and just talk about it. No pressure to just sit there and talk about what's next, what's the next thing,
Yeah.
And then we started incorporating man, I did something stupid this week, and so I just think it's great that there's, more so dads out there now talking about being dads, just getting the experience out there. So credit to you for all the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah,
it's
it's awesome.
It's wonderful to, have somebody else, especially you. I would say you're probably one of the leaders of the community of dads just out there talking about being dads. So it's amazing.
Yeah, well, I want to say, too, that I do like your guys' approach, because, when I first started, that was kind of the thing the narrative that, me and a lot of other guys from Dad 2.0. You guys been to Dad 2.0 yet?
Oh, no, we haven't been to it. We know it. Sorry.
Yeah, we know it and haven't been there yet.
But it was kind of the narrative that culture was pushing against, is this idea that dad is stupid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, your guys' thing isn't that. It's more acknowledging, just dumb things that dads do, but not painting dad as this Homer Simpson character that just is completely inept,
Yeah.
Our goal is to push dads are dumb, just like a mom is dumb, just like we're all tired. You're making mistakes because of you. You also don't know. When you have 2 kids, you're oh, I think I know how to do this. No, you don't. It's definitely not the so what do kids eat? Kind of dumb dad.
Yeah, and it's so easy to hit that comedy because because it's just right there. But yeah, to sort of rephrase that and reapproach that, it's I'm not dumb because I'm a dad. I'm dumb because I'm human.
Yeah.
And this is my first time I've ever dealt with this, because as dads and moms, you're thrown into this stuff with no practice, even if you had more kids, there's still new situations, because every single kid is different, that you need different tools in your toolbox to handle, different projects, aka kids. This is from chapter 40 of the pregnancy book. The toolbox. Yeah.
Perfect.
But it is true, because right when even just going from 1 to 2, you have 1 kid, you learn about your kid, all your focus is there, and then the next kid comes out, and then they start developing a little bit of a personality, and they're completely different. And so now but then you're keeping track of the other one as you're kind of. I mean, it's like a whole multiplication problem of
And can we just together acknowledge that parents with one child are the worst? It's like anytime I hear like a parent with one child be like, "Oh my gosh, I just have so much going on." Like, "Oh, I don't think we could handle that this weekend because grandma's coming or whatever." I'm like, you have. There's two of you and you have one.
Yeah.
Like you don't even need a babysitter most of the time.
There's a glob of ketchup I've walked past on the floor like 20 times because I don't have time for it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like I can take, and like the more you add on, because it just becomes a thing of like, once we hit 3, it was like, okay, now anytime I go somewhere, I just know I'm taking one with me. Because if you leave all 3 at home, you're leaving your wife in the trenches, So it's like, hey, let me just take one of them, and then, your life will be easier. And then she's like, yeah, fine, go wherever you need to go. As long as you're taking one or two of them, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I always like taking the little ones out. I mean, to be honest with you, I know they're going to kind of probably get into something or do something, but I think it's fun to like walk around with this little friend of yours.
Yeah.
That I really do think it's fun. I mean, especially now my son's 8, so he's more like a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
But my daughter's 4, and she's so fun to like walk around with. Sometimes like she's doing this thing now where she's like, I'm so bored. Like we've been in the car for like 2.5 minutes, and it's a 5-minute drive to Target. Like, what are you talking about being bored? Or yesterday, our in-laws came over. We were helping them do some stuff, and like they were on the couch watching a show, and like we didn't tell her that they were coming over because they were just going to come over. We were going to give them a ride somewhere, and they knock on the door, and from the living room, she goes, "Oh, what now?"
So I've grown up.
What are we inconveniencing?
They better not mess up my bed. I'll tell you that right now.
You gotta be kidding me.
Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
It's okay. So this is every dad has that moment where their kid curses for the first time, and you hear it. So my daughter Juno, she was 4 at the time, and we had just gotten home from a like 5-year-old's birthday party, right? So I'm tired as well, whatever. But we walk in the door, and she goes, "Oh, I am so fucking tired." And I was like, "Whoa!" I mean, me too. We were at a 5-year-old's birthday party. I'm exhausted, but how did you? All right, but you kind of just like don't acknowledge it. It's like it's like a cold sore. Don't acknowledge it. It's just gonna get worse. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone. Like
it's a car accident you have to ignore.
Yeah. Just don't acknowledge it. If you because otherwise she's gonna, and she's never said it again since then. But like the way she so casually used it, correctly
in the correct way,
it was like, wow, okay.
That is a perfect place, I think, to leave it. That's amazing.
I can't tell that.
That is so amazing that your kid did that. Yeah.
Oh no, mine swears all of the time. I should be swearing more with the amount I don't censor myself. But tell everybody where they can find you if they haven't already.
All social channels, which, by the way, it's funny because you guys, you named off all of the social platforms except Facebook. I don't know how young you are that you don't care about Facebook anymore. But that's our biggest platform.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's probably where we fail, is that we don't pay enough attention to Facebook
it is,
for our content.
It's going downhill, but it's definitely, it's definitely the place that, like, it was going uphill when I first started, and it kind of, like, blossomed all of my stuff. But anyway, so you can find me on Facebook.
Hey.
But unless you're under 30, in which case go to any other platform and just search for Dude Dad.
All right, Dude Dad, and you have Dad and the Recycling Bin Roller Coaster, which is pre-order now at dudedad.com. Correct?
Correct.
I got all that? Oh, my
Very,
gosh.
very nice work.
Thank you. I felt
Okay,
good about
well, thank you for joining us for the show today.
it. Taylor, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for being here, taking the time.
Yep, and obviously you can follow us.
We're at the Dumb Dads on all social platforms except for Facebook.
Whatever that is.
And
A lot of parents on there.
And thanks to Ed Verdu on SoundCloud for the music to this podcast, and thanks to my lovely wife Andy for editing this podcast. Taylor, we always end with a dad joke. Do you want to take the honor?
This is embarrassing. I have a book of dad joke
I know
books.
you do.
I know. We didn't prep you for that, so apologies. But more, do you have like a favorite one?
I think it was so stressful that I purposely forgot them all afterwards. I do though. Okay, so when I was in college, I was a pickpocket, right? So I stole a lot of stuff from a lot of different people. But I had the opportunity one time when I was living in Los Angeles to steal Dwayne Johnson's wallet. And I did it, man. I swiped his wallet, and I started slipping away, and he saw me, and he started chasing me. So I'm running away from Dwayne Johnson, down Melrose, take a right on Highland. I'm just running. He's still behind me. He's catching up. Those big old pecs bouncing, and he's running at me. I cut into this alleyway. I run as far as I can. I get to the end of this alleyway, and it's just a giant brick wall. I was stuck between the rock and a hard place.
There you go. And then he crumbled you into a little ball.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Perfect.
Yeah, I found out what he was cooking. Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much again for joining us. And we'll see you guys again next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome to the world, little one. Welcome to life.
How do I stop this?